Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Gerard. Thank you for allowing me to be here. It's such a pleasure. Hopefully, my slides are working. Okay. You only got 5 minutes, so I'm trying to get there. Okay. Well, my name's Ebony Thompson. I'm Baltimore City Solicitor. That is just a fancy way of saying that I run the law department for the city of Baltimore. So anytime anyone wants to sue the city of Baltimore, they got to come through me. And also, I sue on behalf of the city of Baltimore for anyone who harms the city. So just to talk about how the city of Baltimore was introduced to blockchain, it actually came from a horrible, tragic event. We had three firefighters that were battling a vacant property in Baltimore City, and as they were battling that fire, it collapsed on them, and they died. So three firefighters lost their lives, and the mayor of Baltimore, Mayor Brandon Scott, called everyone in. And it was actually my first day with the city in January of 2022, and asked for every agency to come up with solutions to combat vacant housing because he considered vacant housing a public health issue, not just a housing issue. It has been a source of blight, crime, and of course fires as they are vacant. So those are some of the dangers. And what we realized is that we had as many as almost 17,000 of them. Today we have a little less than 12,000. So you can see how aggressive we've been with this method. But when we take possession of a property, the majority of the vacant properties the city doesn't own. They're owned by third parties, so we have to first get possession of them. So we have to go to court, and we have to get that title in our name. So once we get that, then we also sell that to investors because the city is not in the habit of holding the properties. We want to put them back and get the property tax dollars for that. We want to put it back into active use. So then as soon as we get it, we usually turn that around and we sell it to an investor. An investor rehabs that house, and it's usually the end user that would move in or a landlord who would then rent that out. So what the problem is that we were finding was that we were um, doing a title search that goes back 50 years. If anyone has ever purchased a house, it goes back 50 years. But we were changing hands of that property about three times, maybe within 2 years. So why are we looking backward, right, instead of looking forward? And that we felt that that was a perfect use case to utilize the technology for blockchain so that we can just look from forward from that transaction and then move from that place instead of going back over and over again. And this is just a picture of how some of the entire blocks will look like that. And also some of the, like I said, we talked about the blight and the lost tax revenue, but also the slow transactions, and some of them being stuck in limbo. Another issue is the interoperability. Sometimes when we had tax sale, when people would redeem the property, we were using the old manila folder system where you had to take the deed and then they would drop it off maybe twice a day, and then we would have to manually file it. And heaven forbid someone's out on COVID, right? They're out of the office and they don't file it. And that means that they have redeemed their property, but we sold it at tax sale. So that's a problem for the law department because we have to invalidate that deed, that sale. And then we also get sued for that because the person who bought that is now looking to move forward. So those are some of the issues that the law department, that the city was facing on extra costs in terms of not being efficient with the record keeping. So we partnered with Medici Land Governance, and we built this from the ground up. We now have over 228,000 of our properties recorded on chain. And that includes now, it's a little under 12,000 vacant properties. It was as high as about 17,000. And like I said, with blockchain deed registry and smart contracts and automation that are self-executing to help us with a lot of the interoperability issues that we were having. Um, and then again, the tax sale redemption. So that's that's one of the main pieces. The second part of this is that we're trying to look at the root cause for vacant housing, right? In Baltimore, anyone knows the history of Baltimore, we're the birthplace of redlining, which was a system of literally drawn on a map red lines on which areas would not get investment from banks based on the racial composition of those neighborhoods. We looked at that, and that is correlated to the gut of vacant houses that we have now. So what we're doing is, now that we are investing in these vacant properties, we are also utilizing fractional ownership to allow the people who suffered through disinvestment for decades and lived through this in these neighborhoods to now be able to participate in the investment in their neighborhoods, and instead of getting pushed out through gentrification, actually be able to participate in that wealth generation, and as these neighborhoods are going to raise in value. And so these are the expected outcomes. Again, faster, lower cost transactions, fewer errors and unwinds, reduced legal admin rework, more reliable contracting, expanded pathways to ownership, and stronger tax base instability. And I think that is probably all the time I have. There we go. All right. Thank you so much.